Hey everybody, happy Saturday. I hope you guys had great weeks. I know us folks here in Calgary, Alberta are super lucky. We have had incredible weather this last week, and I don't know about you, but I mean, when it's nice out, it's just like life seems easier. That's my perspective anyways. I'm a bit more of a sun person than a snow person. But diving into our conversation this week. So, of course, last week we did talk about what is mediumship. And coming out of that, one of my clients and a really good friend of mine was actually talking to me. And specifically, she was talking about my style, which I'll get into a little bit more here. But she asked, what is the difference between, say, a psychic and a medium? And it's a very good question. So typically for me, when I do readings, and this is where it came from with my, like I said, my style, typically with my readings, because I do light trance, what I'll do is I directly channel one of my guides. And I do less, I have this person with me from spirit. This is what they look like. And this is the messages from them. I do more directly channel my guide. He talks to your guides essentially. And I talk a lot about what's going on in your life. And I really focus on helping find clarity or add clarity and direction into my clients, like whatever's going on. I typically am working with people who are, a lot more, I shouldn't say a lot more, that's the wrong words, but they're high achievers. Let's say that. They're people who are really in pursuit of the most fulfilling lives possible. They are usually chasing some form of their own path. So whether that be entrepreneurship or creativity or traditional business, like in the business world as an employee, they're just people who are, really in pursuit of fulfillment, and not only just, I would say, externally in the career, but holistically, they want that fulfillment. And a lot of that comes through knowing our own inner world and taking ownership really for our own mental health and our emotional health and our spiritual health. Really that's a piece that, is really important to that fulfillment, right? And so people who I'm typically working with are very much in, taking ownership that the only way they're going to find happiness, if you want, or fulfillment or joy is going to be through doing the work of not controlling, but really working hard to make sure that they have the most healthy internal world they possibly can. But with that, and I think a lot of us who have done any form of self-discovery really understand is that no matter what we do and no matter how hard we try to control things, we ain't in control, right? And part of learning how to have a fulfilling life is really this idea of embracing that there are things beyond us, period. We aren't in control of certain things within this world. And no matter what we do, there's always going to be an unknown that is ultimately beyond us. And what I really believe, and at least what I embrace as a real value and a mindset for myself, is I truly believe that the act of really surrendering this idea and getting rid of this false belief that we are in control, that to me happens through spirituality. And that is my belief. And that is really this idea of learning to connect with the unknown, right? Because that's where I think the unknown is what we try to control the most. And which funny enough, is the thing we can control the least. But I think that a lot of times the angst that we have in this world really comes from this idea of wanting to control everything and then not being able to control anything and feeling that anxiety of the in-between and really feeling stuck, if you will. And so that often plays out, for instance, this might seem like a small example, but I think it's something that everybody can relate to. So for instance, you're in a job, it's not fulfilling, you're really struggling, it's really impacting you adversely, you've tried everything. And so you're like, okay, it's time to leave. But there's a lot of benefits to your job. Let's say you have really great benefits. You definitely want to stay because of those. There are some good people you work with, whatever your reasons, right? And then it's like, so then you're stuck in this moment where you're like, do you find another job or do you stay where you are? Right? And I know that sounds like something maybe small and maybe trivial to some people, but I want to give real life examples of where this comes in because the unknown is, can I find a good job? Am I stuck in this job? Is this everywhere? What am I going to do? Maybe, financially I've got bills to pay. Like even the thought of looking at something different causes me anxiety, right? Like there's so much that happens where it's even like, it's a everyday example. But even within these moments of life, where we're faced with decision, there's so many options and so many variables that are so beyond us and we have no control of, that I think a lot of us really get stuck in the fear of what if. And so I truly believe that's where, mediums really can come in handy, at least my style of mediumship. So for me, I come in and it's very much helping with guidance. It's adding clarity for people of what's going on in their life. Maybe there are those decisions and they're just stuck, bogged down in all these external factors, if you will, that feel very emotional at the time. It's getting to the core of who somebody is. It's almost connecting at a soul space is really what I think is we actually connect through our soul space. We cut through a lot of the bullshit that really is what confuses us. And we're able to start giving direction and clarity from an external side. And sometimes that does happen through loved ones. Other times it's through guides. But there's something that's really beautiful when you can get outside direction, but outside direction that's from ourselves almost. Like, I know that sounds really funny, but it is. It's like, my absolute goal with clients is to help them actually feel more comfortable in their own skin and to learn how to connect with themselves and listen more to themselves. Because every single person has the ability to connect with their inner selves, their soul space, and even to their guides. But a lot of us don't know how to listen. We don't know how to tune in. And oftentimes we just don't want to listen, right? And so I come in as that other voice and it's like, yes, like, you're on the right path, like this, and this. Here's your thoughts. Here's what they're saying. Or maybe it's like, maybe think about this, think about that. But it's this beautiful ability to, oh my God, I'm laughing because I feel like that was a good self-plug there. I have this beautiful ability, but I say this with a lot of mediums, okay? It's this beautiful way and this art of being able to just, like I said, cut through the bullshit and get to the heart of what needs to be said and help bring direction into your life. And so, now, going back to my original question here of not every medium does that, okay? At least my experience, of course, everybody's going to be unique. Everyone's approach is going to be their own. And I, of course, have not met every single medium. But a lot of traditional mediums, what they'll do is, I say traditional, and I mean that in the sense of just like a black and white definition, if you will. It really is that communicating with spirits, right? And people who are on the other side. So often, and man, it's really incredible some of the skills that people have out there. They are connecting with spirits on the other side, so your loved ones, and they are basically acting as a go-between, hence a medium, between you and that other person. And there is I know a lot of people get spooked out by that, but I can tell you, I have done a few situations with that, with clients. And even from my side, when I was sitting down with this gal and she'd asked me some questions and I was able to connect to her grandfather who passed. And it was just like, I could see her shoulders relax. I could see her body. And she started bawling, and it was this release. And it was this confirmation. And in that moment, there was so much healing and just human rawness, that it really can be an incredible piece of your healing, especially if you have somebody on the other side you want to connect with. Just to know that they're okay, I think is, you know what I mean? I mean, everybody who's lost somebody knows that right there, that piece is just, it's indescribable, which is why I'm stumbling over my words, right? So a lot of mediums will do that. Of course, there's messages that often come with that. And it is a really incredible gift, right? Psychics, on the other hand, tend to be more on the lines of talking about your past, present, and future, kind of what's going on in your life. A lot of them can read it. Oftentimes it does happen in connection with spirit, but it's kind of divided into the two, that a psychic reading would be more about just reading your aura, reading on what's going on with you, reading about what's going on with you. And then giving you guidance based on that. And so, of course, when you have those two things divided that way, my friend was like, I've never had a medium reading like you do. Usually it's through a psychic way. So for me, I guess arguably I kind of do both, but it's because I go into light trance. So I'm not actually the one who's doing a lot of the reading. It's actually one of my guides. And so I kind of mix both, but it is really because for me, my passion and with my guides and, my direction of where I take things, obviously, as you can see with these videos, is I just really believe in, giving people the courage, to really, I'm just going to own this, the courage to really love themselves and embrace their story. And it's we always, a lot of us really try to do that, but when we're in it, it's really tough. And if I can have it so that I have helped empower my clients, and like I said before, really help them learn to trust their own intuition and really have that confidence walking out, then I feel like I've done a good job. Right. And so I do want to quickly talk here too about, like, if you are somebody who's thinking about seeking a medium for some guidance, it is really important to understand that not every single medium is going to be coming equal. Okay. And I say that loosely, and let me kind of add a little bit of a disclaimer here, because one, it's like any profession. I don't care where you look. There's going to be some people who are better than others. But two, when I said that, what I also think is really important is understanding that somebody's style might not be particular to what you're looking for. And so they might actually be very good at what they do, but their style, their personality, and the way they deliver it, it's in conflict with how you would like to receive that information and what you're looking for. And so it is really understanding that, you really need to find the right fit for you. And of course, that comes through trial and error. And I do really put that back on the client. I think it's the responsibility of the client to understand that not everybody's going to be a good fit. Mediums are still people, and they're going to come in different gifts. And so if you are going to somebody, you have to understand that they're not going to be the magic for you. Okay. If you're trying to heal something in your life, I think a medium is a great way to help you along that journey and to help give you that confidence and clarity and direction. However, the work ultimately comes down to you. And you really need to understand that if you go and you get messages and you're like, okay, this is really good, I can take this, you have to be the one to do the work, right? And I think that's really important. A lot of people will be like, yeah, of course. But let's be real, a lot of us, when it comes down to the daily work of it, we just don't do it, right? And so the other thing with that is understanding that, you also have to pick and choose what you want to take from a medium, okay? And I'm not saying that just because something challenges you that you should just dismiss it. But what I am saying is that you might get a reading that actually just doesn't make you feel good, okay? It leaves you're like, I don't agree with that. I reject that. Or I'm not even ready to receive that. I'm not ready to make that implementation in my life. Then you need to take ownership of that, okay? And I know obviously these people are going to be speaking into your world, and you hope that they're giving you the best reading. But as we said in our first video or two, it was like you have to be really, really ruthless about who you're going to let speak into your life. So if you see a medium and and you leave and you feel really bad about something or scared for your future, I would probably suggest not going back to them, okay? Because this is the other piece, is there are what I would call finding an ethical medium, because there is a real responsibility on the side of the medium, and unfortunately not everybody is really necessarily takes the same responsibility as everyone else, where they deliver messages in a way that's really inappropriate, okay? Like, obviously we don't want to take out all the negative, right? Like, if there's things about depression, if there's things about mental health or whatever, something that I would say more like negative, then of course the medium is going to it's important to talk about that, or maybe relationship issues. But if you're going and somebody's, speaking really negative into it and just delivering these messages, and you're just like, man, I feel so bad about myself, that is not a good person for you to continue to see. Straight up, do not go back, okay? I'll give you an example. I had a lady who was giving me a reading, and she actually used cards while she did it. And my husband and I had gotten in a fight the night before. We don't fight a lot, like big fights. And so I was just feeling off about it, obviously. And she definitely picked up on that energy. But so her delivery, she pulls over this card and goes, ooh, girl, are you in a new relationship? And I'm like, no, I'm married. And she's like, oh. Oh. And then as she's pulling up these cards, she keeps going like, oh, girl, you're going to have issues. And I was sitting there and I was like, what the fuck? And then she proceeded to basically tell me I'm going to be divorced. My husband doesn't believe in what I do. All these terrible things. And it was interesting because the information that she got before, like that she would just say neutrally, I was like, oh, I can take that and it makes sense to me. But the way she delivered and interpreted what she was saying, it was completely off because she was picking up on that energy from the night before. And I do want to say, I actually have an incredible relationship with my husband. We work on things all the time. And so, that's really not something I am even like, it's not even on my radar. Let's put it that way. And she is somebody I will never see again. Okay, let's just say that. But I'm sure there are other people out there who might like her style, right? So, but that is an example of somebody, she left me, like I left feeling really shitty. And so that's not the point of a medium, right? Like ultimately, if we reduce everything, mediums are to give you hope and to really give you confidence. I mean, and healing. Obviously there's more to it than that, but if you don't feel those at the minimum, man, okay, run away. And I do want to say I've had other amazing readings who have helped me. People have given me advice that I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense after you say it like that, and they've just really helped me through tough decisions. That in the end, I'm really grateful that I had that additional clarity. And so, I'm getting a little bit longer here on my video, but I just wanted to make sure that, as I'm talking about why, mediums are great and what they can do and different styles of readings, the importance of really finding an ethical medium, as well as, your responsibility as a client going in. Of course, I say, you do your best to pick and choose, but obviously it's just going to be going and hoping for the best sometimes. But referrals are always your friend. And otherwise, with that, I just want to wrap it up and say, if you are thinking about medium, if you've ever been curious, highly recommend it. It is seriously, I mean, obviously I'm partial, but I still even though I do this professionally, every single time I see a new medium or get a reading or whatever, I'm just like, it's Harry Potter. Like, it's as close to magic as we get. And I freaking love it. It is so cool. So I hope you guys have a great week. And all the best.